Hey guys, Huzz here, bringing you another video. So welcome back to Spectating Challenges, the series that I literally spectate challenges, see what they do differently, how do they do things differently. For champions that I either play and I want to get better at, or champions that I'm looking to pick up and get better at. And a few days ago we uploaded the KLED episode, and yeah, since then I've been a little bit more interested. If we just quickly go look at the tri-bush, the Ezreal is walking into the tri-bush, straight into his death, and Thresh gets the first blood. So I will say, generally, a bit of a spoiler, I do look at stomps in spectating challenges, because that's kind of what you want to see when people are playing their champion to the maximum. How did they snowball? Like, the whole premise, I've always found it really funny. When somebody goes, oh, you only killed me because you're fed, it's like, well, they had to get fed. How did they get fed? And how does someone get fed in a challenger game? When everybody's the best players in the server, how do you get fed then? That's what impresses me, so that's why sometimes I do look at stomps, because that you're going to learn a lot, you know. When did they go in? Why did they go in? Was it simply a basic mistake? Who knows? So, it's a KLED versus a Riven, and again, I don't know who this Dijan one is, but again, the only people that play Riven generally are one-tricks, so it's probably a one-trick Master or Challenger Riven player. And just to make it abundantly clear how we're picking the champions that we're going to be doing from now on, if you guys see underneath the video, there is a join button. If you click that join button, you'll get access to the members-only community part of the community tab on the channel. That's where I ask what champions you guys want to see. Meanwhile, a big fight's happening. KLED's actually missed a couple queues now. But that's where I basically asked where do people want, or what champions do people want, and KLED and Aurelion Sol were the two biggest ones. I just couldn't find an Aurelion Sol while I was looking. And this guy was, I think, roughly in the top 30 or so Challenger EU Wests, so it's pretty damn good. And also, just furthermore, if you guys want to click that join button and sign up and stuff, obviously that benefits me as my job. But we are going to be returning to do champion guides pretty soon, and that is also how I'm going to select what champion we're going to be doing it. Is the people that click that join button, become a YouTube member, they're going to have the vote of what champion I do. Anyway, level 2's dinged. Riven hit, well, actually 3. KLED's getting pushed in. So the early aggression is very normal for a KLED. You can see Kindred, his own Kindred's down in bot lane. Riven potentially looking for like some type of dive, I would doubt. But very early aggression is very normal for KLED because, again, you've got a double health bar. So if you muck up, meanwhile, he dings 3, and in the exact same time he dinged 3, he was looking for that sweeping motion with his E to the Q. But I will say, already for a Challenger KLED player, pretty inaccurate. You know, he hasn't hit that many Qs. He is going in, and I will say, you know when he can go in. If you look in the bottom left, meanwhile, all-in is happening. He misses his Q at the little final bit. He's going to continue running, potentially, and gives up. So remember always, well, I actually say I can't show it because I've got my ad reel thing down there. He went in exactly when his W came back off cooldown. You know, that's when you're going to be timing things as a KLED, because that's your all-in damage, is when that. Your W, the 3 or 4 bonus hits that give, you know, a lot of damage and attack speed extra. So he's staying around. Riven's teleporting back in. Actually kind of surprised she didn't just jump on the KLED a little bit there, because obviously the KLED's, one of KLED's biggest weaknesses is managing Skull, your pet. That's why going for an early trade on a KLED, getting rid of his Skull can actually cripple him a lot in the early game, because that's kind of his whole champion. He gets abundantly weaker without the pet. So he does teleport back. He's going to go back now, though. If I actually bring up this that I didn't have up, there are people that did some swaps, so that person's mid and that person's top, so there you go. So farm-wise, he is actually quite a bit behind. I'm not surprised. Again, he's been missing Qs. Riven pushed him in the early game, so we actually haven't seen that clean KLED play. Riven goes for a bit of trade, you know, maybe he has a slightly better trade than the opposite. He is looking for a roam potentially because he knows people are low health near the enemy wraiths. Pinging is also happening on the minimap. What's he going to do? So I don't know why he walked into the Baron pit when he did. So pinging happening. There's the Sejuani, and I think the Sejuani's completely fine. Again, enemy team was pinging that as well. They knew that was coming. You know, when you're in top lane and this Riven just sees her KLED wander away, you're going to be like, KLED's gone, and you're just going to ping it. So, but yeah, so far, nearly half CS. So like I mentioned, I normally try to look at like how people stomp in Challenger. Well, at the moment, this KLED's getting stomped in a way for a Challenger game. And again, this is where you've got to judge players differently. For a Challenger game, he is getting stomped. Being half farm relatively at 5 minutes, you are getting absolutely owned. Anyway, a roam potentially, like, Kindred's in a little bit of a weird predicament. She should be okay, though. Riven looks for an engage. Nothing happens with it. He is tanking a bunch of minions here, too. So I'll say, if this KLED turns around and starts to do well, this video will be, like, how to make a comeback on Challenger KLED or something, because he should be relatively locked out of this lane. You know, it's a Challenger Riven player. He's down on farm. He's down on XP. Probably down on gold. He's 200 to 300 gold behind now. He will catch up a little bit here, but Riven might be able to deny. But I will say, the annoying thing about KLED is right now, any other top laner, Renekton, probably even Darius, Riven, if she hit level 6 and they were level 5 with about half health, Riven would all in. She didn't, because how can you all in a KLED? He's got a double health pool bar, and when you're diving a KLED, when he still has Skull up, well, he's just going to, like, pop off his mount, and then, you know, you're going to be tanking a lot. So that's why KLED is also very good against aggro champions like Riven in that sense. So a couple of trades happening for the enemy team. Zoe's dead for the second time. But their Sejuani's also died 2 times, and the Ezreal's died 2 times. KLED's going to opt for going back again. Again, another thing that I want to know is, how does he use his ultimate? You know, Riven's obviously there, but, like, does he use his ultimate just to... Does he save his ultimate just to fight permanently? Or will he go back and then ult back to top lane to get there quicker? That's also something that's worth noting, because what does a Challenger player do? So that's the Kindred mark is coming down again. When you're in top lane, your lane opponent is arguably overstaying. That Kindred mark should be, you know, Sirens going off to the Riven, Kindred is on her way. And as you can see on the minimap, Kindred is on her way. So if Riven dies to this would actually be pretty poor by the Riven. She actually does a bad flash, still gets stunned by the KLED, and goes down. So that's actually very, very bad play by the Riven. Couple things happened. One, she didn't respect the Kindred mark, that she just ignored it. I don't know. I think she may have gone and warded the river, but it's a KLED. He's got crazy engage. So she didn't respect the Kindred mark. So that's her first mistake. The second mistake that she made in that situation, the flash. If she was planning to try and flash to escape, she did it after the KLED ultimate rooted to her. After the KLED ultimate roots to somebody, you cannot get away. Even if if you're an Ezreal and you flash and E over 2 walls, KLED will still go for you after the root has happened. You know, when he, like, is running into a straight line and then it veers onto somebody. So in this one push, by the way, they get the tower, which is kind of crazy. So she needed a flash earlier. It's that simple. Like, flash out the way so KLED doesn't hit that ult, and maybe she would have lived. But in the, you know, the basic of it is that she didn't respect the Kindred mark. She didn't respect that Kindred was coming, which she should have. So that whole play, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, would have put KLED ahead of gold, and actually considerably. So we've gone from a stage. So how do you make a Challenger come back? Well, you know, have a jungle gank that your enemy doesn't respect. But from being 200 to 300 gold down, this KLED is now 400 gold up. How lanes can change even in Challenger. Kind of crazy. So his first buy, he has now got Ninja Tabby. He has now got Tiamat. That's actually a pretty good power spike for KLED. And what I would predict, again, not seen this game, I don't know when the kills happen, I just kind of know the final outcome, I guess, is I imagine KLED's going to start taking the fights to Riven now, if I had to guess. I don't think he's going to sit idly and kind of be like, oh, well, let's just keep farming like we've been doing for the past, you know, 5 minutes. No, I think he will start to fight the Riven. I think he'll start to kind of go, my turn to try and do the bullying. So every single time his W is on available, I think he'll go for something. Or he'll start roaming. It's one of the two. So he is over pushing. He throws a control ward. He actually doesn't hit the double damage. So a small mistake there. Riven going for the all-in. There's also 3 people top lane. He does have flash. Stun coming in by the Sejuani. He is going to try and get away. He gets ulted by the Sejuani. He is going to try his utmost to survive. Very close to getting Skull back. If he has one more auto attack, he gets Skull back. Kindred comes in and picks up the Diana. KLED's going to come and finish the Riven. So that, again, that is one thing I would say the strength of this champion. He overstayed. He got 3v1'd at one stage in that fight. He survived and got a kill and an assist. Why? Because he's so hard to kill. He's got 2 health bars and a bunch of just... And, like, even when... I don't know why that did that. Even when you're killing him and, you know, Skull's health runs out, there's a split second that you can't damage KLED. Like, there's, like, a half a second when he's jumping off the mount. You can't really damage him. You can't really CC him. He's kind of immune. That's annoying, and he's very good for that. So what I'd say, if you're a top laner right now, and you're like, oh, I love my Darius, I like my Riven, but I die a lot. Maybe look into KLED, and that's why I've looked into him. Not because I've fallen into that category. I actually die quite low amounts when I'm in top lane. But he's really effective because he's good at split pushing, he's good at roaming, he's a big decision-making champion. He's coming with an ultimate, actually misses it completely, and again, that's the risk. Meanwhile, Diana goes for an all-in on the Zoe, does actually pick up the all-in, and Kindred picks up the kill on Diana, but that's another assist, so technically worth it. But this Zoe is definitely having a rough game. And again, this would have been recorded, by the way, yesterday, or this game would have been played yesterday on patch day. I don't know when I'm uploading this, but it would have been done on patch day, and obviously Zoe just got buffed. I know how we all feel about Zoe getting buffed. Why isn't she deleted yet? But she is buffed, unfortunately. The classic certainly T champions that are just not very healthy for the game. Anyway, he returns to top lane, and as you'll notice now, the game has shifted. You know, the comeback has happened. How did a challenger player who was half CS at 5 minutes make a comeback? Basically by a couple things. Not panicking, and I will say probably relying on his jungler a little bit. The 2 times that this KLED has made massive comebacks, you know, one, the Kindred coming top lane with the Riven not respecting the mark, and secondly, when he overstayed in that 3v1, if you'll notice, both of them, the Kindred came to help. Both. So I don't know if they're duo Q or anything, but yeah. Anyway, gank potentially happening in mid lane. Let's position the camera just so we can see a little bit more. Don't think anything. Oh, and potentially Diana is walking straight into the KLED. He misses his Q, going for a little bit of more all-in and not only going to get anything. Again, one very big important thing with KLED is you've got to land your Q. You know, it's your start of your combo. It's to hold people still, and when they get a little bit away from you, you pull them back in. Like, that's the piece de resistance of KLED. And just to make it also clear, he is maxed Q, then W, and then E, with obviously maxing ultimate whenever he can. So standard KLED, nothing different. Item build wise, I presume he's actually rushing a Titanic Hydra. You'll also notice he's ahead now in XP when he was below in XP. So I presume he's rushing a Titanic Hydra. Not even any Phage, no components for Black Cleaver. Just straight to the Titanic. Unless he does something different, which I doubt. But if we keep watching, the bot lane obviously has done well this game. You know, the 0-4 Ezreal or 1-5 Zyra, they have kind of got owned this game. Versus the KLED's team having obviously the Zoe that's struggling. But if you guys remember, some of you may, I did a video how to counter Zoe, and I played one champion in that video, Diana. Diana's the best champion into Zoe. So if Zoe has now received a buff, I'm reckoning we're going to start to see Diana's play right also climb. Like, I think they go hand in hand. If Zoe's play right goes up, Diana's play right goes up, because she basically can just one-shot a Zoe before Zoe can do anything. Even, like, Diana's so good at one-shotting people and getting onto a Zoe, because Zoe, like, when she ults forward, that's Diana's way to get in, because you know where she's going to be. Before you get slept, like, if Zoe hits her E, before the E takes effect, you can one-shot a Zoe as Diana. Anyway, all-in happening here. The Q does happen. KLED's going to go for an all-in. Actually is ulting away. Doesn't manage to do anything there. Going to try and auto-attack as much as he can to try and get the double. Will not die. Skull comes back, going for the all-in again. Landing the Q. Gets 1 kill in a 1v3. Sejuani's going to continue for a little bit more. Not sure if Sejuani's going to be able to do anything. Maybe with the Zyra in the back line. Oh! Double kill coming in by the KLED. Gets healed to safety by the Kai'Sa. Gets a double kill in arguably a 1v3, but really that was a 2v3 at the end. If you guys wanted to rewind that, the Kai'Sa W landing on the Sejuani is what enabled the KLED to finish off the kill. If that damage didn't come in, I'm pretty sure KLED would have died. But anyway, build. So yes, confirming he has finished the Titanic Hydra. And again, no Phage, no Composed Phage, straight into a Kingle Gem. So cooldown reduction quite heavily prioritized here over even damage from not buying a Phage. So that's worth noting. Again, cooldown reduction is very important on KLED. Like I've mentioned, 2 things. 1, your Q is everything. You have to land that Q, and if you miss it, well, having lower cooldown to let it come back up quicker is obviously quite valuable. And 2, your W is your pure dueling damage, is your auto attack buffed damage, so that shouldn't be surprising either. Ezreal potentially overstaying a bit, lands double Q, pulls him back. Ezreal's already used flash, don't really know what the Ezreal's doing. Potentially he's a little bit tilted because he was 0-4 before that. KLED does it nice and clean. And again, you guys, this game, I reckon, have seen the difference between the 2 styles of KLED of landing your Q and missing your Q. This KLED has owned pretty much every single time he's been landing his Qs, but in the early game, in the first 4 to 5 minutes, when he was landing basically 0 Qs on that Riven, Riven had lane dominance. Riven got double in farm by 5 minutes because he wasn't landing the Qs. He now is landing them, which enables his whole combo basically to work, and he's now wrecking. He's now 502. There is a sleeping Zyra over there. Don't think she's going to die, though. She's also very smartly planted. Well, she's going to die now. But she did throw her plants in front of her just in case Zoe went for a Q. That was smart. Zoe looking for some sleeps. KLED does not have ultimate, not yet. Pretty soon. And then the KLED's team is basically just wanting to end this game again. It's 16 minutes. It's a challenger game. They don't care. Like, again, challenger people, you know, they're very good. They don't make many mistakes, but they also know how to end a game. That is obviously, I'd say, when people say to me, what's one of the biggest differences in rating? Sure, the mistake thing, how many mistakes are made, how many mistakes are capitalized on, that's a very big thing. But how to end a game is also very much up there. If you go to a bronze game, a bronze team could have, or, you know, I'd say even say up to platinum. A bronze to platinum team in solo queue could have a 10,000 gold lead and still struggle to finish out a game because they don't know how. In Challenger, people know how to close out a game. It's like, we're really far, like, 10,000 gold lead in this game. Hey, let's just group and siege. If it doesn't work, then let's just reset. But at least they're looking to try for it. You know, they're looking to try for it because it probably is the right thing to do. Okay, so pretty much overstaying, I'd say. This KLED does get the nice Q, is a level up as well, does back out of it because he probably backed out of that because he has no vision. Like, yes, he did kind of 2v1 earlier, but it's not worth the risk at the moment. So he's got no vision. Well, if he had vision, I'd say here, and then he'd probably go for it, but he did have none. All he knew was Ezreal at the time was in mid lane, and maybe Diana was top. So you don't know where Sejuani is, you don't know where the Zyra is, and the Sejuani also has ganked this KLED quite a bit this game, or a decent amount. Well, actually, probably about the same as what the Kindred has done to the Riven. I'm pretty sure the enemy team doesn't know he's in this bush. Riven did dodge a Thresh Hook coming from the jungle. Kai'Sa gets dove, by the way, so that's why your AD carry shouldn't be alone. KLED does go back and now finishes off the Black Cleaver. So one thing I will say about this guy, again, obviously a very good player. Potentially he's holding on to gold too long, and basically he's having very big power spikes. So he's like, you know, oh, by Tiamat and Ninja Tabby, and then the next thing I finish my Titanic and get a Kindle Gem, and then after that I finish a Black Cleaver. They're very big jumps of power in between buying those items, where potentially having a more scaled power spike would be healthier. And I will say, maybe not to this guy, maybe this is, you know, he's a challenger KLED main, that's what he just does. But I'd say the average person watching this video, I would not recommend what this guy's doing. I wouldn't recommend just buying massive chunking items and having like 2,000 gold in your bank. I would recommend having a slow ramp of the items and having kind of like a natural power spike climb rather than a chunking power spike climb. Because you can get punished. Like, this game, he has not been punished for it, but you can get punished for doing that. You can be in a winning lane, but if you're... Say you're 1,000 gold up on your lane opponent, but you've got 2,000 gold in your bank that you've not used yet, but the enemy team has just gone and bought. Even though you have 1,000 gold lead in your lane, technically the enemy is ahead right now because they have used the gold and you've still got 2,000 that you haven't used. Technically, they're ahead in an actual 1v1 right then and there. So that's why I'd always say be a little bit careful with it. I'd say maybe KLED doesn't because he can get away with having the double health bar, a little bit more survivability. So that's maybe why KLED doesn't do that. But every other champion, yes. Don't hoard your gold. Alright, enemy team looking for, like, escaping, basically, in their own jungle. KLED looking for just, I don't know, sieging. Riven, by the way, he has 3 levels up on this Riven. He's now, you know, clearly a 20 farm odd lead. So yeah, things have really turned, and also worth noting, he went Grasp the Undying KLED, so I know some people would probably like, what did he do? Grasp the Undying, he's against a Riven with Kleptomancy, which again is kind of the standard Riven thing nowadays. So I presume he went, again, we don't know what second thing he did, because it only shows Grasp here. I might be able to confirm it, but if I had to guess, it would be Grasp the Undying and Domination or Precision. It would be one of the two. Alright, so if you didn't see there, he went for an ultimate. Diana actually blocked the ultimate, because if she didn't, he would have got to the Ezreal or stuff in mid lane. They are pinging Baron, which I'd say is a little bit questionable, but let's see how that goes. They might even try to just bait it, because I'd even say the Baron's a bit risky. KLED doesn't give the chance for Sejuani to escape. He pulls her in. She's now asleep by the Zoe. Riven in the middle of the team fight. Zyra ultimate coming, causing chaos. Diana jumps on the KLED. KLED is still alive. KLED goes down by the Diana. Kindred gets a double kill. Sleeping Ezreal is flashed over here somewhere. Misses the cube. Kai'Sa comes with the flash. Kindred gets a triple kill. But that was pretty good. Again, that was the first death that KLED had. I'd say it was an okay death because the enemy... Whoa, nice hit by the Kai'Sa. Is going to finish off the kill as well. Very, very nice. But I'd say that is what you call a worth death for KLED. Enemy team does surrender, so there you go. But that was a worth death for the KLED because the enemy team used so much to kill him. And he's not even a tank. He's a bruiser. But that is going to be the game. I know some people are like, this is a quick one. Yeah, sometimes, as I said, quick ones are good. How did this KLED turn it around? Again, a lot of it wasn't to do with him. Like, a little bit. You know, he was not landing Qs in the early game, and then he started to land them so he could do damage. But it was more the Riven disrespecting the jungler. The Riven got marked by Kindred. You know, that's what all turned this. Riven got marked, didn't respect it, didn't back off, got killed, and then that's what brung back the lane for the KLED. Then later on, you know, the KLED, you know, fair enough, in himself, was doing 2v1s and 3v1s, and, you know, with a little bit of help here and there, the Kindred in one situation, the Kai'Sa W in another, but he played solid. The early game was a bit iffy. He got doubled in farm. He was missing Qs. But then after that one gank, he brought it back and had a pretty damn good performance. So anyway, that's going to be it. That's how this guy made a comeback on KLED. If you guys did enjoy, throw a like on it. And as I mentioned, if you guys want to give me suggestions of what champions to do guides on and more challenger commentaries, click the join button. And in the community tab on the channel page, that is where you can kind of chat and have those conversations and leave suggestions. But as for the comment section in this video, just tell me what you think. Like, do you think this was good? What do you think the mistakes were? I don't know, anything you want, feel free. But anyway, like, subscribe, see you guys next time. See you.